joining us here in person at the ETH Zurich Center for Law and Economics and the ETH's main campus building, as well as those joining us online from all different parts of the world. I'm Ayisha Piotti, Managing Partner of RegHorizon and Director of AI Policy at ETH Zurich Center for Law and Economics, and I will be your host for today's session. We are hugely excited that for the 2022 AI Policy Summit, we were able to hold 3 days of online discussions and now this hybrid session with you today. During the course of the last 3 days, we have listened to fascinating exchange of views on how we can balance innovation with building trust using policy as a tool. We have explored not only the implications of AI within the justice system, but also how we can harness the power of AI to improve the lives of people, especially in the developing world, including in Africa, Middle East, and in India. And we have gathered also insights on the best way forward with regards to AI and democratic engagement. Today, we'll be turning to the last 2 themes of our summit, which is AI and future of work and how we can build bridges between regions and stakeholders to ensure that AI serves us all without infringing on our fundamental rights. For those of you who might be joining us only today, I wanted to also share some of the remarks I have already shared during the last 3 days to give you context to today's discussions. As you know, one of the key challenges we are facing as a society today is how to capture the benefits of artificial intelligence, but at the same time, minimize its risks. The aim of our platform is to explore how policy can help us achieve this balance. When we started our journey 3 years ago on this project, our vision was to build a global discussion platform that leverages on the Swiss culture of inclusiveness and transparency, our excellence in research and innovation, and our unique credibility in the geopolitical space. Also, to bring leading multidisciplinary experts from around the world to exchange their experience and their knowledge, and build collaborative partnerships within Switzerland and with other regions to co-create the future of AI policy together. I'm delighted to inform you that we feel humbled to have made great strides in achieving some of those goals. Our community of experts is ever growing. We have people registered to attend this summit from 81 different countries, representing every single continent except Antarctica. A clear testament to the global interest in this topic. During this week, we have successfully facilitated the dialogue between policymakers, business leaders, academics, innovators, and representatives of the civil society from around the world. In addition, for this year's event, we are honored to have a collaboration also with UNESCO, and we are grateful to secure strategic partnerships and financial support from the Swiss Federal Department of Foreign Affairs, the Swiss Office of Communication, the Swiss Academy of Engineering Sciences, the Swiss National Science Foundation, and the Canton of Zurich. We're also grateful to our other partners who are listed on our event webpage for their commitment, their active support, involvement to make this event a reality. In particular, I'd like to mention Pratik Sibal and Charlene from UNESCO, Nidhi and Avinash from India, and Arvind and his team from Diplo. And of course, my personal thanks to ETH Zurich CLE team members, especially Samuel, Sybil, and Marion for their support, and to Olga from RegHorizon for her unwavering dedication and hard work during the last many months to help us put this event together. Now, based on the feedback from the last two events, it became clear to us that whilst raising awareness and increasing engagement on AI was an area we could clearly contribute towards, it was equally important that we broaden the geographic scope of this dialogue. So the agenda for this year's summit reflects this feedback. In addition to the latest developments in the EU and the US, this year's summit features expert contributions from India, Singapore, various countries in Africa, including Tanzania, Egypt, and Kenya, as well as from Mexico and Brazil in Latin America. Now, before we start, a few housekeeping remarks. Your views are, of course, very important to us, and this platform thrives on dialogue. So please participate in the Q&A sessions. For those of us who are joining us online, please use the chat function. We have chat moderators present in the Zoom room for all sessions who will assist the panel leads to integrate your comments and questions into the debate. For those joining us in person, as we have speakers, of course, from different parts of the world, and also many who are joining us online, and we have a very full agenda, we have to be very strict with timing. So as a reminder for our in-person attendees, please make sure that you come back in time after the coffee breaks as well as lunch. In the Swiss spirit of punctuality, when you hear a bell, just please start making your way back to over here. Your printed agenda also has a QR code to access the event webpage where you can see all information about the speakers. And we can now put that also in the chat for our online attendees. Lastly, we'd be very happy if you shared your impressions of the AI Policy Summit also on social media, specifically on Twitter and LinkedIn, using our hashtag AI Policy Summit 2022. I will now pass the floor to my esteemed colleague, Professor Elliott from ETH Zurich, to also say a few welcoming words. Thank you all.
Hello, thank you, Ayisha, and thank you everybody for joining today. I want to give a second welcome to those here in person and also those joining from abroad on Zoom. It's great to be back in the Audimax, seeing all of you in person in our third rendition. My name is Elliott. I'm assistant professor at ETH Zurich in the Center for Law and Economics. My research has a pivotal focus on AI, where we try to use data science tools and economics to understand the law and the legal system and judge decision making. And at the Center for Law and Economics more generally, we have a diverse group of researchers using law and economics and data science tools to understand these issues of AI and the law and judge decision making. Later today, you'll hear from some of my colleagues from the center, including Alex Stremitzer and Filippo Lancieri. And on behalf of them and myself, I welcome you. We're proud to represent the academic side of this collaboration with the AI Policy Summit. And I think what you'll see today, and what I hope you saw over the last few days, is that we would like researchers to work not only on the tech underlying AI, but the policy around AI. If you're interested in the academic side of these issues, then I'll give a strong recommendation for joining for our workshop in AI plus economics, which starts tomorrow morning and will go through Saturday. We have an in-person event over at the Department of Social Sciences, and that's also hybrid and streaming. So check out the website to sign up for that. Now, I'm happy to turn it over to a further welcome on behalf of UNESCO, recorded by Tawfik Jelassi, Assistant Director General for Communication and Information.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to address you at the AI Policy Summit organized by ETH Zurich and RegHorizon. In a world increasingly shaped by technological developments, it is critical to discuss the role that AI should play in society. For years, UNESCO has been working to harness AI opportunities and address related risks in its field of competence by leading reflections around pressing concerns related to the rapid development of this technology. Opportunities range from the role of AI in fostering education, in fighting disinformation and online hate speech, to its role in promoting inclusive, sustainable development, gender equality in the technology sector, and the empowerment of youth across the world. UNESCO advocates for a human rights-based and ethical development, use, and governance of AI. It does this through advocacy and awareness raising, capacity building and policy guidance, standard setting, and international cooperation. As a global laboratory of ideas, UNESCO plays a leading role in facilitating international cooperation and shaping the future of AI. It has taken up the challenge mandated by its member states to develop the first global normative instrument in the form of a recommendation on the ethics of AI, which was adopted last November by 193 countries. UNESCO is actively working with partners on digital capacity building worldwide. As part of our Judges Initiative, we are strengthening the capacity of judicial operators concerning AI through knowledge-sharing conferences, thematic workshops, as well as online and in-person trainings. This year, we have already reached 4,500 judicial operators across more than 140 countries. In addition to the judiciary system, the public sector leverages digital technologies to design and implement public policies, engage with citizens, and improve the delivery of public services. However, to build an enabling environment for digital transformation and to face the challenges of e-governance, civil servants require a new set of skills and competencies for the future. This was a priority pointed out by member states in relation to a survey on AI, which we have recently carried out. In response to this priority, we cooperated with many actors and launched just 2 weeks ago the Digital Transformation and AI Competency Framework for Civil Servants. The related digital capacity building navigator we are currently developing will enable civil servants to self-assess their digital competencies and find tailored digital transformation learning pathways. The issue of data, of information and disinformation, of privacy and freedom of expression discussed today are of crucial importance for our democracies, for human rights, and the rule of law. They often relate directly to questions on how online platforms are governed. In this regard, I invite you to continue this discussion at the UNESCO upcoming Global Conference on Internet for Democracy, Regulating Digital Platforms for Information as a Public Good. This conference will take place at UNESCO headquarters in Paris next February. This will be another UNESCO cornerstone for shaping the digital world we want, requiring, of course, our collective human intelligence and our joint action. In the spirit of future collaboration for a human rights-based and a human-centered digital world, I wish you all fruitful deliberations.
Great. So now we will set the stage with the initial presentation by Professor Alex Stremitzer of ETH Zurich Center for Law and Economics. Alex has held previous positions at UCLA, Bonn, Yale, NYU, Northwestern, Columbia, and Harvard. His work on the theory and empirics of contracts, bankruptcy, and most recently legal tech has been published in all the top journals of law and economics. We're very happy to have Alex provide his insights to help start the day. Please, Alex.
Well, thank you very much, Elliott, for the invitation. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the AI Policy Summit 2022 at ETH Zurich. My name is Alexander Stremitzer. I'm the professor for law, economics, and business at ETH Zurich. And let me use this opportunity to do what we best do at events like this, throw a couple of recent ideas coming out of the Center for Law and Economics at you. So they're held together by one question, and that is, how can legal scholars contribute to AI policy discussions? So first question that I want to talk about is, does law prevent the development of AI tools in medicine? So here's the background. New AI tools can assist physicians in treatment recommendations and diagnostics. And the hope is that they lead to the development of personalized medicine. And it's inherent to personalized medicine that AI recommendations will often deviate from standard treatment recommendations. Now, prominent legal scholars have argued that following a personalized treatment recommendation by an AI tool will increase legal liability in medical malpractice. And if this were true, it would undermine the use of potentially beneficial medical AI. Why? Because it would create incentives for doctors to ignore personalized treatment recommendations by AI. This is because they would be in the safe haven of just adopting standard treatment, and that would then shield them from any potential liability. Now, this is a legal conjecture based on legal doctrinal analysis. However, medical malpractice liability in the US, for example, depends in part on lay judgments by jurors. And what they think can be actually studied empirically. To determine potential jurors' judgments of liability, we conducted an online experimental study of a nationally representative sample of 2,000 US adults, which is exactly the pool from which jurors are drawn. We find that doctors were no more likely to be found liable if they decided to follow non-standard AI advice compared to rejecting such AI advice. This suggests that law does not undermine the use of AI in medicine. Why do I mention this to you? Because it shows how we can use experiments to test legal conjectures in areas where we have not yet seen many court decisions. And why have we not seen many court decisions in this area? Because these are new and innovative products, as we would expect with many AI products. Second question, can AI help to build a better lawyer? We've partnered up with a company that developed a machine learning tool to summarize legal texts. Besides creating summaries, the tool can mark sentences in the text in a graded color code that the machine labeled as pivotal for the creation of the summary. It's obvious that such a tool is helpful, potentially helpful, for the performance of many legal tasks. But does it work? We recruited hundreds of law students from leading law schools and provided them with a legal brief on an online interface. We then asked them legal and factual questions about the text. We then exposed participants to 4 treatment conditions. One, they just saw the plain text. Another one where they saw the plain text with the summary. Then one condition where they had the text with markings. And then the text with markings and the summary. Now, preliminary results suggest that we can increase the speed with which the tasks are completed by 30%, while quality of task performance is unaffected. Interestingly, there is an interior solution here. The best results are obtained when the law students are presented with the text and the markings condition and not with the text, the markings, and the summary. So adding the summary on top of this is counterproductive, suggesting that too many machine support might be bad. You see that this is actually a project that has in mind this broader question, how to best put the human in the loop. So why do I mention this to you? Because the legal profession and the administration of justice is changing with the advent of AI tools. And we see a lot of proprietary solutions and without much independent evaluations of such tools. And public universities like ETH can fill this gap if, and this is important, we have an agreement with our partner, as in this project, that we can publish the results no matter what they are. Third question, how can AI help to empower consumers? Many legal violations are difficult to detect, difficult to prove in court, difficult to quantify, and if successful, only lead to small claims. A prominent example is privacy violations by companies in the internet. Under enforcement leads companies to systematically violate the law in this area. In collaboration with the computer science department at ETH, we were able to develop an AI-powered bot that detects privacy violations in the internet. This bot can, in theory, automatically report those violations to regulatory agencies or bring a formal complaint. We found that more than 20% of companies in Europe systematically violate certain laws protecting people's privacy. And that is a conservative estimate. In the next step, we are now matching violations to firm characteristics to see which types of firms are violating consumer privacy. Is it big or small companies? Is it struggling companies or the most profitable ones? Is it companies in certain industries but not in others? But beyond these interesting questions, there's a larger idea looming in this project. How does a legal system protect or allow people to enforce their small claims? The traditional approach is class action, where entrepreneurial lawyers bring suits on behalf of many consumers who each have a small claim of a couple of dollars or euros or francs. By aggregating all these suits, it becomes worthwhile to bring them, as it allows to spread the cost of bringing them among many plaintiffs. But class actions are not available or more difficult to bring in many European jurisdictions. And they become increasingly unavailable in the US in many contract disputes due to recent Supreme Court decisions. This makes pursuing alternative routes important. Enforcement bots, as we call them, are such alternatives. Rather than spreading the costs among many plaintiffs by exploiting economies of scale, enforcement bots potentially drive enforcement costs down to zero. Why do I mention this to you? Because we see how AI is not just a tool that helps big companies to exploit consumers, as it is often portrayed in the press. It is potentially a tool that can empower consumers. In this sense, let's spend the next 2 days to reflect on how we can put AI to use for the benefit of the people and our societies. Thank you for your attention and welcome to the AI Policy Summit at ETH Zurich. We're now starting with our first panel. Thank you very much.
I had one question about the first part. I thought that was an interesting idea about medical AI potentially increasing malpractice risk. And another way to look at that, I thought, is at looking at malpractice insurance premiums. Have you heard of, either statistically or anecdotally, do malpractice insurance companies consider whether doctors or medical organizations are using medical AI in their decisions?
I have not. I've not heard of such such effects on insurance premiums, but that is certainly something that we should look into. I think what we try to do in this project as a next step is that what I told you about was mainly the situation in the US, where we have jurists deciding on these things. In Europe, of course, we have judges deciding this, and judges often rely on expert witnesses, which is doctors. And so we're currently having a follow-up study where we are comparing lay people's judgments in countries like Switzerland and Germany to lay people's judgments in the US. And then we are comparing lay people's judgments, let's say in Germany and Switzerland, to medical students' judgments on these things, and eventually maybe medical experts. So that's the next kind of project in this line of research. But I think it's a very good idea to actually reach out to insurance companies to see how they are thinking about this. Just anecdotally, I talked to one insurance company more related to our enforcement bot project, and they basically told me, that was 2 or 3 years ago, that that they actually think that all these risks are not really very important because nobody is going to bring the claims anyway. Yeah, and I thought to myself, well, that might change in the future.
Can I speak?
You should. You have the mic.
Yours at the mic. Yeah, I can use it. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. So yeah, I like your presentation, especially when you talked about the overuse of AI building the good lawyers. When you give them a summary, maybe they are not having any incentive to read out the entire judgment, and over the period of time, we will get less quality lawyers. So can we apply the same principle for judges also? Because now we are implementing AI tools for judiciary. And so what would be the threat in the efficiency of the judicial process or the quality of judgments when they are applying or when they are using AI tools?
Well, I think if we can generalize from these findings, it's one data point that suggests to us that AI allows us to um, to considerably increase the efficiency, but we have to think very carefully about how to put the human in the loop. And it's not always that more AI is better. Now, I think that the task that we have that we have that we are looking at here is probably also a task often performed by clerks to judges. So summarizing legal text. So to this extent, this project is relevant to your question. But I think we have a project that I've not talked about at our center, which is now coming out in the Harvard Journal of Law and Technology, which looked at the acceptance. So what would lay people accept in terms of robot judges and the use of robot judges? And we found, interestingly, that that people do care about. I mean, we know that people care about the possibility of being heard, hearings, and we know that they care about interpretability of decisions. But we were very surprised to find that they find it valuable to even have a hearing in front of a robot judge. And also, they find that interpretability is important both for humans and for AI. So, to the extent, for instance, that it is very expensive to have hearings in front of human judges, to the extent it's not possible, and we have certain areas of the law where there's only kind of perfunctory hearings. Introducing, let's say, an AI system and offering a hearing in front of this AI system that would basically try to check for credibility and the emotions and the sincerity of the person involved, it might actually raise lay people's perception of procedural justice. And we know that's quite important, not just per se, because we care about how people perceive the legal system, but also because perceptions of justice, we know, increase compliance with the law. And so I think those are kind of my tentative remarks to your kind of big question.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you very much, John.